Why is it that when you argue with a woman, even when she's clearly in the wrong, an apology seems like the hardest thing for her to say? Have you ever wondered why so many women dodge responsibility, shift the blame, or even double down instead of just saying two simple words, I'm sorry? Before you jump to conclusions, no, this isn't about bashing women. This is about uncovering a psychological, biological, and social phenomenon that affects modern relationships. So stick with me because by the end of this video, you're going to understand the deep-rooted reasons why women don't apologize. And more importantly, what you can do about it. Let's start with the science. Research shows that men and women process guilt and responsibility differently at a neurological level. Studies indicate that the female brain has a stronger connection between the prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotions, and the limbic system, which controls feelings and memories. This means that women often internalize guilt more deeply than men. But here's the twist. Because they feel it more, they are less likely to verbalize it. Now let's talk about upbringing. From childhood, boys and girls are conditioned differently. Boys are often told to man up, to accept mistakes and move on. Meanwhile, girls are subtly taught that their worth is tied to being seen as good, and admitting fault can feel like a threat to that perception. Think about it. How many times have you seen a woman get defensive when criticized, even over small things? It's because, unlike men, women aren't just admitting a mistake. They're subconsciously fighting against a deeply ingrained belief that they should always be in the right. We live in a society that treats men and women differently when it comes to accountability. When a man messes up, he's expected to take it on the chin, apologize, and move forward. But when a woman is at fault, the societal response is different. If she apologizes, she risks being seen as weak or incompetent. This double standard is why many women instinctively avoid saying, I'm sorry. They've learned it makes them look vulnerable in a world that already questions their competence. Here's where things get tricky. Some women, whether consciously or unconsciously, use emotional manipulation instead of apologizing. When cornered, they shift the blame, gaslight, or make you feel guilty instead. But before you think it's all manipulation, consider this. Sometimes this is a survival tactic. Women have historically had fewer power dynamics in relationships and workplaces, so avoiding blame has often been a way to maintain control or status. So now that you know why, let's talk about what you can do about it. If you're dealing with a woman who never apologizes, here are 3 powerful strategies. 1. Call it out calmly. Instead of arguing emotionally, simply say, I've noticed you rarely apologize. Why is that? This forces self-reflection. 2. Don't play the blame game. Instead of attacking her, frame your argument around mutual understanding. Example, I know neither of us is perfect. I just want fairness in our conversations. 3. Set boundaries. If she consistently refuses to take accountability, make it clear that it affects your trust. People change when their actions have consequences. At the end of the day, nobody likes to be wrong, and women are no exception. But if you've ever felt frustrated in your relationships because of a lack of apologies, remember, understanding psychology is the key to changing your interactions. So now I have a question for you. Have you ever dealt with a woman who refused to apologize? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into the psychology of modern relationships.